Hello and welcome to another episode of the Plus 63 HP Reviews show. I'm one of your hosts, John Clemente. Alongside with me is my bestest best friend, the guy with the pink headset, Chubax. Say hello.
Hello, I'm Chubax. You can call me Papa.
We don't,
Please call me
but
Papa. But yes,
you,
hello,
you
welcome.
we don't, but you can.
You can.
Thank you very and again, this is our show where we review awesome shows, awesome movies, go deep and discuss all the themes and synopsis of said particular show or movies. If you have not yet, we would love for you to subscribe to our channel, youtube.com/plus63hp. We have three shows currently running. Our review show, and we also have a show where we record our very first D&D campaign. We also have our third and final show where we react to trailers, clips, short featurettes, and clips of our curated clips of amazing content that's about to drop. So if you want to stay informed and if you want to discuss all of those things with us, you can interact with us through our socials. We are in Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, all under the handle at plus 63HP. If you do not want to watch us video on demand, if you want to keep us in the background while you're doing your chores and not see our faces, we are also in your favorite podcasting app. Just search plus 63HP. We particularly like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Amazon. Housekeeping done. This is our movie of the week discussion of the amazing film, Everything, Everywhere,
Everywhere. All at
All at once.
once.
So I will be, before we start the discussion, programming reminders again. We will be discussing the synopsis and spoilers of this movie. So before we jump into that, before we dive deep into the details of the storylines, the actors, the cinematography, the editing, what we felt about the show, Chubax, spoiler-free review, initial reaction about Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. Go.
I loved it. It was amazing. I just I was already expecting the fight scenes and Michelle Yeoh. I was surprised with the heart of it. So it was even better than I expected. I love it. It's amazing.
Same with me. So like initial reaction was the movie a few months ago when it came out in the theaters trended because of the reviews, and I couldn't understand it until I first saw the trailer, where I was just immensely impressed with how it was edited together. Like,
Mm-hmm.
all these it's a multiversal story, so a lot of these like different looks of all the characters. In my brain, I just figured that's going to be very hard to shoot, very hard to edit, but the trailer looked great. I'm always impressed with the roster of films that A24 distributes. So I was expecting a lot of good things. I did not expect it, like what you mentioned, that it would hit that hard in all levels of
Mm-hmm.
connection, like husband and wife,
Daughter.
father daughter, mother daughter, friends. Everything was like wow.
Mm-hmm.
It is packed to the brim with super succinct messages that will hit your heart and your soul as soon as you watch it. So
Combined with the visuals, the sound, the
exactly.
effects,
So
like holy shit.
the visuals did not overshadow the story, and the story just enhanced the visual even more. So it was more of one of those things that I'm so happy that people went out and watched this movie. And looking at the stats before we get into the synopsis and discussing all the details about it, uh the budget of the movie was just $25 million, and it doesn't look like it. But if you really think about it, like if you really think about it, if it right now it's out on video on demand, so you get it on Prime Video or Apple TV. But if you really rewatch it again, there's probably just like two sets. You have the Office IRS set, and you have the
Laundromat.
the the laundromat and their house in the laundromat as well. Those are the only two things. You only have like a very very select number of people. Like there's only a set amount of cast, so it kind of like okay, I understand. There were so it doesn't look like a $25 million
It does not.
budget movie. It is so beautifully
Not
done.
even close.
And at the taping of this episode, they just hit $85.9 million, which is great because it is more than three times its budget. So it's considered a giant success. And it's the highest grossing domestic film or domestic and worldwide film of A24. So it beat out Uncut Gems, it beat out Hereditary. So it is a very acclaimed movie, and now $85 million doesn't sound a lot compared to the Marvel movies that hits the billions that we discussed. But um, this is one of those things that it is a we can call it an art flick, right? It's an art flick that people should take time to spend the very very tight hour 40 like 140 minutes, so an hour and 20 minutes, two
No,
hours
that's two
and
hours.
2 hours and 20
20
minutes
minutes.
of movie that is very, very amazing. So we'll go through the stats. I'll go to the synopsis really quick, and then we'll discuss. It's written and directed by Daniel Kwan and Daniel Scheinert. Um, and the reason why this looks so good and it's a good ensemble cast, produced by the Russo brothers of
Fuck
Infinity
yeah.
War fame and Civil War fame. It stars Michelle Yeoh. Everybody knows Michelle Yeoh, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. She needs to be in every movie ever. She's the best. Stephanie Sue, Ki Kui Kwan, Jenny Slate is there. Harry Shum, James Hong, and Jamie Lee Curtis. The one thing that we want to like add here too is we'll discuss it later, but I'll jump into the synopsis. Uh, Michelle Yeoh is a Chinese American woman being audited by the IRS, but she discovers that she has some connection with parallel universes, and she needs to connect with the parallel universes of herself so she can stop this powerful being causing destruction of the entire multiverse. So the movie is divided into three parts. The first part is everything. Essentially, we are introduced with Evelyn, the Michelle Yeoh, and her husband Wayman. You know, seeing tension. There's going to be a divorce that is impending. They're taking care of Evelyn's dad that is old, and then
Who's
the
visiting?
increasing
Visiting from.
who's visiting from, I'm assuming, China, um, but also like uh, struggling to kind of accept their daughter Joy's girlfriend Becky into the broader world of their culture. Just to note, in this particular movie, a very very huge chunk of the first part is spoke in Chinese English. In Tagalog, when we do speak Taglish, that's how people speak.
I love it because
That's
in a lesser director's hands, it would have been all English or all
or
Chinese.
all Chinese.
But this one was how people speak.
It is one of, so to pause here, it is also a vehicle because they did not want this to be a Chinese film. They didn't want this to be a Chinese American film. They just wanted great characters that had cultural baggages, and this is just the most authentic way that they could convey that
Mm-hmm.
message. So having the Chinese American language, like the first two parts, I was surprised how much Chinese this movie was. But even without the subtitles, you could, because they're doing Chinese English, it's like context clues. Totally understand it. Um, all of this is happening while Evelyn is struggling to clean up their files because they are being audited by the IRS, played by Deidre Bubidri. So Jamie Lee Curtis. All right. Um, just to hasten things along, while Evelyn was conversing with the IRS, trying to fix the incorrect ways of their filing. He is then connected by alternative Waymond, telling
Wayman.
Alpha Waymond, telling Evelyn about what she needs to do so that she could stop this all-powerful being to stop to in destroying the entire multiverse. So that was just the first part, everything. Part two is everywhere. So this is where Evelyn realizes that um, she has access to all of her different parts. And the thing about her, the unique thing about her is because she doesn't have a unique thing, like she's just like a regular person comparatively to all of her alternative version that may be an actress, maybe like a popular celebrity and whatnot. She's just like a regular person that um, does not have anything to really offer. Hence, the best sponge to get all the best characteristics of all of her other multiple versions of himself. Um, uh, this is in part two. We are now introduced that the dark being hell bent into destroying everything is Jobu Topaki,
Which I
and
love
Jobu,
that they always get it wrong. Well, Evelyn
yeah,
always gets it wrong. Like how many 5, 7 times she had
yeah,
different variations.
yeah, and Jobu Tupaki is in fact Joy, her daughter. So she put everything in a bagel to destroy everything. So the everything bagel that sucks and destroys everything, and she just wants to make sure that because the vast universe has so many options, so many things good and bad happening. He just wants to end everything, and nothing truly matters. Uh, so the Wangs, both Evelyn and Waymond, uh, jump in and out of different multiverses to try to stop the different ways and the different the different henchmen that Jobu Tapaki sends to kill all of the Waymans and kill all of the Evelyns in all the universes until they hit part three all at once. So towards the end of everywhere, the parallel. Evelyn confronts both the dad, even the grandpa is part of the task force
Mm-hmm.
of people trying to stop Jobu Tupaki. And instead of killing Joy, Evelyn confronts Gong Gong, the grandfather, the head of this multiversal policing thing, bending to stop Joy. And then instead of just killing Jobu Tapaki, they want to kind of like convince her that she could still turn to better.
No, but
Uh,
also the twist was that Jobu Topaki didn't want to kill everything. She just wanted someone to someone she could be with, someone to join her in death.
mhm.
Because
Yeah.
I guess she was afraid. That's all she wanted. She didn't want to destroy the world. That's why at the end, the Alphaverse tried to stop Evelyn from stopping Joy to kill herself.
Mhm.
So that they're rid of her evilness.
And just to overlay all of this, the poetry of this movie is all of these action between Joe Butapaki having all the powers in the world, access to all of her versions, so that she is, OP essentially, and Evelyn doing the training montage and then getting access to some and using select powers of a chef, a movie star that is a kung fu star, a person that has fucking hot dogs for hands, all of
Rakakuni.
these weird, yeah, yeah. So Rakat, like the chef to like a so the visual splendor of using those skills to fight the henchmen in unique and fun ways is literally overlaid by the fact that this is still Joy trying to get her taxes done. So the
Evelyn,
taxes is still
Evelyn, Evelyn.
Evelyn, trying to get her taxes corrected so that she could save the laundromat. And this is also overlaid with the love story between uh, Evelyn and Wayman They were wanting to get divorced because Wayman no longer feels that he's loved, and even other versions of Wayman have always loved Evelyn, and never, not all of them kind of connected together. So it's still like, it's funny, from jumping from action heavy fight scene with weird powers to uh Waymond and Evelyn still trying to get their taxes done, still trying to have that party in their laundromat so the community can come in.
And
um
Joy of basically being depressed, right?
uh,
Like her
yep.
depression, I think it's the main cause of her Jobo Tobaki.
Yep. And the way that it's conveyed in the movie is, Joy being a lesbian has Becky, a wonderful girlfriend that is being hidden from Gong Gong, the grandfather, because
Mm-hmm.
they felt like, Evelyn felt that it'll just stress the dad. But part three is all at once. So towards the end of part two, they were able to reconcile. The family was able to reconcile on both fronts, both the regular laundromat party front, where Evelyn and Joy were finally able to face the consequences, or face the fact that they have to just introduce Becky as Joy's girlfriend. And in the multiversal part, where all the versions of Joy and Evelyn jumping through different portions, Joy still loved her daughter regardless of how much she wants to destroy everything, or wants to
Yeah,
um, you know
die.
die, right? So that was great. But in the end, uh, as the family relationships improve, Becky became part of the family. Waymond and Evelyn shared another, brief romantic moment, and then they again they returned to the IRS building a second time to file their taxes, and then that was it. Everything kind of like went together, and that is the very winding synopsis of Everything Everywhere All at Once. Chubak, what are your favorite
It's
storylines,
just
act and versions of Evelyn in this particular movie?
this one just nailed one of the things that I love about certain movies where it looks so complicated, but then it boils down to heart, or something simple, So that's always, if that's done well, it's always really, it's a masterpiece basically. Like, you can say what you want about, like, one example is like Inception, but it just boils down to him wanting his kids back. All of those
Mm-hmm.
dreams and all. It's just a simple dynamic. So here it's just the family, and basically everything comes down to Joy and Evelyn, the two of them, and I just love that. They're, for me. I mean, I'm not that smart, and I don't all go all through the levels. But what I got from the movie was like the one that's the problem. Joy's problem was also the answer, because for like she saw, because the Alpha Joy was pushed by Alpha Evelyn, right? And she accidentally like accessed all of the her versions in the multiverse, which kind of made her crazy. She
Mm-hmm.
experienced everything. But because she
Yep.
experienced everything, she thinks nothing matters. Because if she did this in here and then this that happened there, and if every permutation that has happened somewhere else, it's like nothing matters. Which you can understand, right? It can be, it's relatable in a sense. But then Evelyn comes back in the answers that's like, yes, everything can happen, everything happens everywhere, but doesn't that make my choice here to be with you, to love you, even special? Because in others it doesn't. So this
Mm-hmm.
this choice, my choice, to not let you go, to be with you, to appreciate you, matters. So it's just, I don't know, I just loved it. I also love the, of course, all the fight scenes was amazing. Thinking about it, I guess maybe the most special one was still the first one, the Waymond fight, the first Alpha Waymond fight.
Alpha women.
But Michelle Yeoh just brought it because she had so many fight scenes and everything was special, was amazing. I like that they had to do something random to jump.
Mhm.
So
Oh
that,
yeah,
that
I still
that
forgot
was
that. Like the
funny. I love the fight that where two guys had to put something up their butt and then they just
oh
blurred
they fought.
they
Oh my
just
god, that's great.
the naked part they blurred it. Jobo Tubaki's fight scenes at the start were also amazing,
Oh my.
where she would just switch things up and just pull things from the multiverses. That was amazing. The logic also of this Evelyn sucks so bad, but everything else comes from her. But since she's always in the middle, she's the one that has closest to everything. Because like,
Yeah.
if she became good here, this will branch up there, but this cannot access this choice over here.
Mhm.
But since she's always stuck in the sucky one, she can touch everything. So it's
Yeah.
so
She's
well
not.
done.
So there was a portion there saying like, "No, you haven't found your thing yet. You're not good at anything.
This is your
So
thing.
you don't specialize in anything." So it's like, oh, I kind of got that that knowledge. No, but yeah, this is one of those movies that it's hard to explain because it can be either extremely simple or extremely complex. But
And
in the end, it's just a family story,
yeah,
right?
I also I forgot. I also like that they went crazy with the multiverse, but just in some short scenes. They didn't go too much to all of it. They just stuck with the kung fu, the hot dog, hands,
The Rock.
and the rock, but not a lot. Like you would see some animations and some stuff, but it was always flickering fast, and they just used a few ones.
This is the
You
again the
know,
most judicious way because a lot of this the effects looks great because it's not effects. They just have to shoot it a bajillion times and lay it over each other.
I love
It's not
the
it's
light going like that, the effect. I'm sure
Mhm.
that was somebody just with the light going up and down like that
But,
behind the camera. Like
it's
it looks so
all of
good.
like there are scenes where Joe Butapaki was like shifting from one world to the other and
Oh, that was
whatever,
so
doing the
good.
same
Where she was
thing.
like,
And then there's so many
uh,
costume changes. Um, and that was the thing. And it was kind of interesting, right? It's one of those filmmaking things that it is the story is needs to be at the heart of everything. And I love that their story was it's honest because it's not one love they all in all universes because we can see even Evelyn and Jamie Lee Curtis was in love in one world, the hot dog world, and then in some worlds Waymond was it was way better when they weren't together, right? If Waymond and uh if Waymond and Evelyn did not go together, both of them become very, very successful ones become
always, yeah.
so you can all see all of these versions that they weren't doing their regular love story where it's like I love you in all universes and shit like that. No, no, I
Mm-hmm.
don't. Some universes we deserve to be like different people and we were born to. So even those drops of hints there enhance the fact that what you were mentioning in the end, this Joy and this Evelyn choosing to love each other, not or choosing not to let each other go is much more it's even more important despite the chaos and the things that are not happening in other universes. So that was kind of like I was when I was watching this I was in tears. I was like this is so
I'm
good.
jealous because you saw it in the theaters. I saw it
Yeah,
in
yeah.
my
Like,
iPad. So
yeah. And I saw it like we were watching it in Nighthawk, so there's food and there's beer, so I was in a very, very good situation where it was super good. It was super funny. The action was great. The effects were great. And coming into the movie, I did read into a little bit of the story because it's an A24 film. I don't know, okay, I didn't know if I was going to wait for it to be on video on demand or watch it in the cinema. And then I realized, like, I read an article that during pre production, Jackie Chan was supposed to be the role of
women.
Michelle Yeoh.
Oh,
No,
okay.
Michelle
Oh, Michelle
Yeoh.
Yeoh.
This was in production for quite a while. I think 2018 was when they started kind of like finalizing um uh you know finalizing the script and the main heart was supposed to be ADHD, like attention deficit disorder is the one that kind of makes him like
Mm,
like anything, so not be good at something. That was how the original
script went.
script was written. But of course, eventually the script ended to like got into Michelle Yeoh's hand, and the agents kind of like, oh, I think Michelle Yeoh is just going to do this, and they had to change a few more things. Um, and even Aquafina was supposed to be the role
Joy.
of Joe Butopaki. Yeah, so like it's like it was all of these things were like bigger names becoming smaller and smaller, and then you have Michelle Yeoh, and then you have Ki Hui Kwan who played Short Round, and um uh
Indiana Jones, Temple of Doom.
Data
And
in
then
Goonies.
Goonies.
Yeah, I love the fact that he he had those two movies, but for the past 20 years, really struggled to land an acting role because there weren't roles for
Asian.
um, Asian males in Hollywood. And he gave up until he watched um, uh, uh, Crazy Rich Asians and got inspired how people celebrated the Asian culture. And then went for this role, got it, and due to scheduling conflicts, Aquafina had to drop off, and Stephanie Sue, which also killer, hop on
She was
board. And this,
surprised. I was just surprising.
I magic. This is one of those things like this is what we call cinema magic, and everything worked. Like because I felt for Wayman, like he
Yeah.
wasn't, he wasn't too soft, and he wasn't to the overtly in love kind of guy. It was just a man who lost touch with his wife but still loves her so much, and you can still all that complexity there. It's not one dimensional, like I loved you and I
Yes.
no longer love you. No, I super still love you, I just want to live life, which
Mm.
she like even doesn't. And everything in that particular concept hit. It's funny because like the Becky as the girlfriend was the one that I felt least about. It's still very important, like being a lesbian in a conservative culture, not being understood by the older generation. What is still resonates a lot, but I was like, there's even more richer, like even more rich storylines to talk about this film on top of the amazing actions.
Plus all the Easter eggs. The Rakakuni, Jobu
Ugh,
Chubaki, the playing with the feet. There's also that layer where she thought that at the start when she used accessed the hot dog hands that it was useless, right? She couldn't fight, but then it's the feet. So when she came back to it in the
oh,
end, the feet was amazing because it had to adapt. But she didn't think of that at the start because she was focused too much on the hands. She didn't realize that the feet was the one that was special about that
everything
world.
that she had access to had a use at some point.
I also love all the just the concept where and they were fighting and then all the other versions got hit also and they were reacting. It was just the execution was just so well done.
Yeah,
Like she hit him
amazing.
and then she was in the cinema watching the movie and she got hit and then that was so good.
I love. I again, this is one of those movies that I really wish everybody will give a chance with. But yeah. Closing thoughts about everything, everywhere, all the time. Um, Favorite things. If you were to jump into a multiverse, what would you get? What superpowers would you want to get from an alternate Chubax universe?
So MVP, so I have to go with Michelle Yeoh, of course. Uh, Surprise is what's Raymond's actor's name?
Ki Hui, Kehui Kwan,
Ke
space
uh,
Hu
Hu
uh, Kwan, Quan. There's no Y too.
Quan
Yep.
like that.
Kehu Kwan. Yeah.
So
Schwan. Yeah.
he was a surprise. He was amazing, and you perfectly said it with him bringing being not soft, not too hard, just in the middle. Um, Favorite things, everything, everything, everything where everything but boiled down to heart. Which multiverse? That would be a good question. What would I want? I think I'd love to be in the animated one.
Oh.
Just to be in a really different mindset of like where you are and how things are. Yeah. You?
So of course, MVP is Michelle Yeoh, but also co-MVP is Kate Wayman. I just like Wayman there. I thought I didn't realize how much just authentic acting, because like his voice is very annoying when he speaks. It's
Yeah.
very annoying. I love it.
It's too hard. Yeah.
uh yeah. So that'll be my MVP slash surprise as well. Same thing. Favorite thing is just the editing is insane. Like
Yes.
I edit stuff, so I understand how horribly difficult this project would have been,
The
and for that particular,
timing.
oh, and it had to be planned because there was not it's not just effects. They had costumes, and it's not just a one person's costume, it's like an entire
Mm,
world's costume, so it's very important. And my favorite multiverse for real is that fucking hot dog universe, the hot dog finger universe. It is, oh my god,
it just made me cringe when they started eating it. That's not too
I
far, bro.
I love the idea that there was like this scene where there's like two actors like spraying ketchup and mustard all over each other. It's so wild and it's so inappropriate that it got burned into my head. Right? Yeah, so and but also in the end where because Jamie Lee Curtis and Evelyn were in love in that world, and they were playing the piano with their feet. So that was
Certainly.
that kind of like stood out. It's like, oh, this is the one universe that is burned in the image of my head. So um yeah, let's close this episode out by rating this particular movie. Chubax, how do you want to rate Everything
Uh,
Everywhere All at Once?
it's a masterpiece for me.
Ooh,
This, yeah, back to back tens for us. Top Gun and then this one for me.
I 100% agree. This is
Mm.
I told you guys, and
You did say before.
we weren't going to review this until it came out, but when it came out and I saw it in the movies, well, prior to Top Gun coming out, this was my favorite film of 2022, beating out fucking Doctor
Batman.
Strange, beating Batman, beating Spider-Man from last year. Like this was like, so much of it was start to finish, tears, excitement. This is one of those things that um I'll do parties with friends who haven't seen it. Like, let's do order dim sum and watch Everywhere All at Once party in my apartment at some point. So this is definitely a 10 for me.
It's special.
Mhm. Parting thoughts and goodbyes.
Yeah. Please watch everything everywhere all at once. I paid for this shit, and I happily did. I'm happy I did.
uh Same with me again. It is you won't regret watching the movie. It has a lot of heart. It has great storytelling. It has great action, and it's extremely visually pleasing. Also support smaller studios.
Mm-hmm.
A24, this is a $25 million film. Like, it pales in comparison. I just want to continuously, like, I love a blockbuster more than like the next one, but like we want
We
to
need
make sure,
this. We need the
yeah,
small ones.
we want to highlight these types of movies because it shows you that, yes, we want movies that are 250, 500, $1 billion in the making, so that it is an event. But it does, like, money is not the best Money is not the only thing to make a good story. You can have an equally amazing experience with a fraction of the cost, and we hope that the future generation of filmmakers and writers are encouraged that you can take down the Disney monster with a teeny tiny film about an Asian American family in a laundromat with about IRS and taxes. Imagine that.
Yes.
That's great.
Fuck yes.
Uh, okay. Final thoughts and goodbyes.
Yeah, that's it. I'm good.
Awesome. Thank you very much for watching this episode of Plus 63 HP reviews. We discussed everything everywhere all at once. We hope that you watch it again. We are on the YouTube. Just search Plus 63 HP or type in youtube.com/plus 63 HP. We follow us on any of our socials, interact with us there as well. We are on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram with the handle at plus 63HP. And if you don't want to watch us and you want to keep us on the background while you're doing your work or your chores, we are on your favorite podcasting app. Just search plus 63HP. We prefer Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Amazon. We would love for you to hit that like, subscribe, and comment. It helps us with the algorithms, help us grow this channel of like-minded individuals who just like sharing content with their friends and family. Thank you very much, and we hope to see you next week.